Hello everyone, happy holidays. And if you are new to this channel, I hope you enjoy this video. I hope you end up enjoying all the videos on this channel. And please like and subscribe. If you are a returning visitor or a subscriber, I hope you enjoy this video. And please do not forget to like the video. This video is all about the sun. I'm going to talk about why you should take the time to get into solar observations, either through visual astronomy or astrophotography. Now, I did do a video on my Lunt 60mm telescope, and a link will appear either in this corner or that corner. I don't know which corner, but a link will appear, and you can click on that to see my review on that. A preview of that is I really love the telescope. I love my Lunt 66mm telescope. And if you ever have the opportunity to either observe it through someone else or use someone else's Lunt telescope, or have the opportunity to purchase your own, I will take advantage of that opportunity and purchase a Lunt solar telescope. Now, before I get into why you should get into solar observation, there are some things I need to talk about first before you get into that. The sun can only be observed under three circumstances. You either have a solar telescope that is designed for solar observation. You have picked up solar filters that you can attach to the front of your regular telescope that will allow you to observe the sun, or you look at the sun through a solar or a total solar eclipse. Those are the only three times. Now, when I mean total, I mean the moon completely covers the sun, not a partial eclipse, not an annular eclipse, but a total eclipse. The next total eclipse in the U.S. will occur in 2024. So if you are based in the US, I would take the time to find out the closest location that you can observe totality and go observe totality. I would just add there's a reason why people considered it an act of a god. That's all I will say on eclipses. They are totally amazing. So if you ever get the chance to go see one, I will see it. You do not observe the sun using sunglasses. You do not observe the sun using binoculars, at least binoculars without filters on it. You do not observe the sun using a DSLR camera unless you have filters for it. You do not observe the sun using a regular telescope unless you have filters on it. Now, you might be wondering, well, why do I need to observe the sun? Well, the sun is a star. And unlike the other stars that you see in the night sky, it is the closest star. And because it's the closest star, that means you can actually observe the surface of the sun. And you get to see all the surface features of the sun that are constantly changing over time. The two biggest features that you will observe when looking at the sun are sunspots and prominences. And I'll have pictures at the end of the video that I've taken with my Lunt 66mm telescope that will show these features. But basically, a sunspot are points of extreme, let's say, focal points of the sun's magnetic field. And they change over time. So one day it will be a sunspot in one location. The next day it might be in a different location. You might see sunspots grouped together. You might see a sunspot at one end of the sun, at the other end of the sun. They are constantly changing, and they are great things to observe. And note that when you see a sunspot, it might look small in the sun, but a sunspot on the surface of the sun more than likely will be able to swallow multiple Earths. These are really big things on the sun, or big objects on the sun. The other thing that you will be able to observe are what's known as prominences. Now, a prominence or a solar prominence is not a solar flare. And if you see my eyes looking, that simply means I'm looking at the NASA website, which explains what a prominence is in a more technical detail, so I can make sure that you understand that it's not a solar flare. A prominence is basically a material that is of plasma comprised of electrically charged hydrogen and helium. The prominence plasma flows along a tangled and twisted structure of magnetic fields generated by the sun's internal dynamo. The erupting prominence occurs when such a structure becomes unstable and bursts outward, releasing the plasma. Basically, you'll see plasma either in a loop, or it's like a small flare that you'll see on the surface of the sun. And like sunspots, these prominences also change over time. One day it might be a loop, might be an extreme prominence. The next day it might be a small flare, and it's an active environment, which makes the sun an amazing thing to observe. And the best thing about the sun is, unlike, well, let's say for example, depending on the time of year, you want to observe Orion's Nebula or the Andromeda Galaxy. Well, many times you'll have to wake up at 2-3 o'clock in the morning to observe those objects, either for visual astronomy or to even go out and do some astrophotography. The sun, well, obviously you can do it during the day, and unless it's extreme cloud cover, you can still get good images and good visualization of the sun using the proper equipment. And so therefore it's a very good object to observe. But as I remind you, you have to have the proper equipment to look at the sun safely. Because if you look at the sun without the proper equipment, you can go blind. And therefore, that's the message of the video. The sun is a great object to observe. Just make sure you have the proper equipment so you can do it safely. And you will find great joy in looking at the sun and getting more into solar observation, whether it's for visual astronomy or astrophotography. Because all the stars that you see in the night sky, you can see one up close, going through an active cycle by observing the sun. The last thing I will say though is that the sun does go through periods of activity. The activity lasts roughly every 10 years, and the good news now is that the sun is in an active period. So it's a period in which there will be sunspots, there will be prominences. I don't know if there's a transit will occur during this 10-year period, although those aren't limited by 10-year periods. But a transit is basically when the inner planets, Venus and Mercury, actually go in front of the sun. And I don't know when the next one is, but those do happen also, which are an amazing thing to observe. But that is the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. I will now transition to showing you some of the pictures that I've taken of the sun, so you can see some of the things that you will actually see when you go observe the sun with the proper equipment. Now, I will let you know that these images were taken with a solar telescope, which allows you to be able to bring out those surface features. Using filters for your camera or regular telescopes allows you to see sunspots, but it doesn't bring out the surface features. So I should let you know that too. But I hope you enjoy these pictures. Please like the video. And please leave any questions that you may have in the comments, and I will see you again.